You know, here we weren't too far off that, but you know, people were not like they were up there.
I don't know. When it all first started, I was like, I mean, we were at Lowe's every other day. No, mask wearing didn't start to happen up until recently, I think.
Yeah, and I still think a lot of it's a crock of crap anyway, but that's just me.
A lot of it, all of it.
Well, I was trying to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. It's unbelievable.
I get that it's good. So what was very interesting is that a friend of ours, her son has asthma, and he gets, pneumonia or, can get sick often.
Yep.
So this year he got really sick and he was in the hospital. And it was pneumonia, x-rays of his lungs, the whole 9 yards. He probably spent, they thought he had the flu, got tested positive for the flu. Went to his chest, had pneumonia. They hospitalized him, gave him his breathing treatment, steroid, blah, blah, blah. He was in the hospital for like 2 days. They tested him again. They said he was positive for both strains of the flu, so A and B.
Oh, wow.
And she said that the doctors were in there a couple of times looking at his scans, and they were basically saying, we've never seen pneumonia this bad, right? But whatever. And so then gets, released from the hospital and goes back to life like as normal, And then the whole COVID thing came out in January, and she's like, I bet you he had COVID.
Yep.
And sure enough, she went and got him tested, and he had the antibodies.
Well, I ended up in the beginning of March. I've had the flu twice in my life. I had it when I was in 6th grade, and I had it about 5 years ago. It was our first year down here, and I got it. And I've never. I mean, that was rough. And I was actually sicker in March than that time. And I was out of work for about a week and a half, and I had one point where I got really short of breath, but they tested me for the second day. I got tested for strep and the flu, and they said, no, you're good. The lady goes, I saw a PA at Minute Clinic. She goes, yeah, it's been really hot. She goes, I see a lot of people like the last week with, or two with, that have been from Clover and Lake Wiley. She said, they have just this really weird upper respiratory virus, or this respiratory virus. She goes, they're all really sick. She goes, but they're all flu negative and strep negative. She goes, so I don't know what it is. And I'm thinking, at this point, COVID's in the news. I mean, it's March 6th.
Yeah.
It's in the news. It's just isolated to Washington. I think there were like a handful of small cases in New York City.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't want to tell her job, but I'm like, okay, you paying attention? I'm like, there's something big going on here, But they never tested me.
Really?
And
did you go back and get antibodies now?
I actually, my cousin is tied in with first responders up in Syracuse, so he sent me an antibody test, and it didn't really show much of anything. I think it was actually a faulty test.
Yeah.
But it came back negative, but it also came back like it didn't register everything
properly.
So I think I'm still convinced. I mean, I still have a residual cough from it. And I also had, and I've never had this before, I've never had athlete's foot.
Yeah.
I ended up getting toe fungus.
Really?
And I said to my wife, I said, this is so bizarre. Because it's usually like if you're an athlete or, you've been exposed in a shower. I'm like, I don't go to the gym. The gyms are closed.
Yeah.
So I said to her, the only other thing it could be is an autoimmune issue. I said, COVID attacks the immune system.
Yeah.
I'm like, I said, that makes perfect sense. So.
It's crazy.
And I've had no issue since, other than a cough that I hit once in a while.
What I find just so interesting about it, it's just so contagious. And my girlfriend's son had it, and she's got, it's her, there's 4 other people.
Nobody's had it.
Nobody else got it.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's the only thing, is like, is it that contagious?
No, it's not.
I mean, how could you have 4 other people living in the house and no one get it?
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
I know they're clean people, don't get me wrong, but nobody's that clean.
Nobody's that clean, especially with the fact that they're telling us you can't be 6 feet away. You gotta sanitize every surface. You can't be in the same restaurant.
I mean, it's.
And I said to one of the parents I said it to Joe Murgo yesterday, and I don't know if you've met Joe at all. So his son is our first baseman.
Yep.
So Joe's the county supervisor for Lexington County in South Carolina. He said it's ridiculous. He said, let me tell you, the numbers, he said, are just off the wall. He said, none of it makes sense. He said, and he goes, everything that you see, even with that's coming from the CDC, that they're saying this is what's happening in South Carolina. He said, none of it's true.
I know.
It's just political.
I was reading and you have friends who's a nurse or whatever. Like tests in the hospitals, like so say you're admitted and you're in the hospital for it, they test you every day for it, I guess.
And everyone goes down as a positive.
Yes, and not as a positive for one person as just a positive.
Yes.
So 7 positives for one person looks like 7 positive tests for 7 different people.
That's
right?
exactly
That's
the
crazy.
problem. And it's funny because my same cousin, his CFO at his company that he runs, her daughter-in-law is a nurse in New York City, and she said the same thing. She goes, you will one person will trigger 5 to 10 positives
Results.
that go into the numbers.
Crazy.
She goes, in New York City, a lot of people die, but 6,000 of those were because Cuomo put elderly in nursing homes. 6,000. I mean, and then Parker's dad said yesterday too. Last week, South Carolina started posting the numbers the ages of all the deceased.
They're all 70, 80.
They pulled the numbers out. They now just said middle age or elderly.
Oh, really?
Yep. They will not post the actual age. They said they started posting the numbers and it was 101, 95, 98, 92, and people are like, these people are just old. I'm like, you're at the age where you get a cold,
You're done.
you're done. Amy's grandfather died from a cold.
I believe it.
He ended up going to pneumonia.
I mean, you can't.
It's like, come on.
I know. It's the age.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't want to get it. I don't want anyone around me to get it. But
yeah.
I don't want to get the flu either. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's like.
I don't want to get a cold. I hate my allergies. I mean,
My mom is, so my mom's 73, so
Yeah.
all her friends are like 73 to 78. She's known 8 couples in like 4 different states: Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, and Arizona. Husband and wife each got it. Everybody's totally fine.
yeah.
You know, I mean, it's cold, cough, tired, and it does last longer than
Yep.
normal. You know, one of them, it turned into pneumonia and he had to go to the hospital and get steroids. And my mom's like, I'm 78. If you don't get we're in our 70s. If you don't get your pertussis shot, like that's your chance. Anyway.
Yes.
Like, you know.
Well, another guy I know, he's a Navy SEAL, and he ended up a former Navy SEAL, and he volunteered to go up to one of the field hospitals in New York City. He said we didn't lose one patient. He goes because we refused to put people on vents. He said we gave them hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and vitamin D. He goes, or azithromycin. That's what it was. So zinc, hydroxychloroquine, and azithromycin. He said every single person got that tested positive. He goes, and we bumped up their oxygen level. He said we never put a single person on a vent. He goes, we did not have one person die. He goes, we had critical patients in there. He said nobody died. He said up the street to the
hospital. I think it's the ventilators.
So this guy posts.
I heard that before.
This guy posts the like all kinds of documents online, like all these studies, and he said the problem is with the response, that the immune response that gets triggered by the virus. He said it actually the extra pressure in the lungs actually creates a compound effect. He said it actually creates more inflammation in the lungs. He said you end up damaging the lungs to the point where they don't work. Now they've got to be on a ventilator because you just damaged their lungs.
Yeah.
He says so that's why people are on vents. You're supposed to be on a vent for like 3 days. He goes, or 5 days. He said these people are on vents for like 4 weeks. He said because they damage the lungs so bad that they've got to stay on a vent. He goes, it's just they're killing people. Literally, they're killing people. So you look at it now. You look at the number of people that are on vents. It's like a fraction of what it was 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
I mean, I guess that's a little bit of a learning curve on a virus, right? I mean, or no?
I think it is. I think to some degree.
I mean, I kind of want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Nobody wants anybody sick or die. They're trying to do their best initially.
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe that's the case, but I think that they were so focused on some of the opportunity to politically damage Trump that it just became a.
That's crazy. I mean, he could damage himself on Twitter without this. So can we just?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Let's not
Dude,
worry
I've
about
never
it.
wanted to
He
tell a
can do
guy to
everything.
shut up more than this guy, and I love what he does, but
He just needs to be quiet.
just shut your mouth, dude.
I agree.
Actions speak louder than words. And your actions are spot on. They're terrific. They're great. His actions are perfect, just like he says. But just shut up about it.
His big mouth is gonna yes.
Oh,
I think he just tries to troll people because they already hate him.
what's that?
So I think he just tries to troll people and mess with them because they already hate him.
Oh, there's a certain degree of that. Absolutely.
But he's the president. He needs to let that go. In my
He
mind,
does.
you know. I mean, you're the leader of our country. Just let it go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just When you're out of office, and if you want to do that and antagonize people, go right ahead. But please have a little bit of, that's my biggest
Self-control?
Yes, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that. I don't think anybody disagrees,
Yeah.
except for him. He's the
Right.
only person in the whole world that said the things. No, you're doing great. I mean, she's sharp. I mean, she's a sharp. You got to know that every time he opens his mouth, she's like, Dad. Please." It's like worse than our kids. How you doing, Dad? Hey, field looks great. I don't care what he says.
Hello?
Field looks great.
I got this yesterday.
I know you did.
Hello? Yep. Okay, I'm not home yet. No, they won. Yeah, they won their first game, so they're getting ready to start their second game now. Yeah. Oh, no, not home, but I would have wanted one. No, that's okay. That's fine. Yeah, I just like it when they make it. How's your nails? Let's see, nothing. I mean, he got hit by a pitch, got a single, and then he struck out. I don't really remember anything even coming to him in the field. Was it crowded at the nail place? Zach probably isn't there either. He's coaching his 10U, so. Yeah. Okay. All right. Love ya. Bye. It's way hotter now than earlier.